Welcome to the Story Learning Podcast, regular doses of language learning tips and motivation to help you become fluent in any language. With me, Olly Richards. For language programs, books, free resources, and much more, visit StoryLearning.com. Hey, welcome back to the show. It's Olly here, and I just want to say thank you for listening to the podcast, for checking it out. I really appreciate your support and the emails I get from you from time to time. It's so much fun just to be here every week chatting about languages and language learning. So I hope you're getting value from the show and that you're enjoying it. Today we've got the second half of a fascinating conversation with Luca Lampariello, and we're talking about whether technology can help you in your language learning. If you haven't heard the first half of the conversation, you should go and check that out first. It's episode 51. So this is a continuation from the first half. So let's get into the second half of this conversation with Luca Lampariello.
I would, use this old book, these old books that are not old, but people might consider them old-fashioned, but a book like Asimov or Teach Yourself or other books, they're still valid.
Is that old-fashioned?
Oh, well, I don't know, but some people say, oh, you're starting with books, you don't use the internet, and they maybe not old-fashioned, but some people might think, oh my God, I have to turn off the computer actually, and I have to hit the book, so to say. And in a way, it might be considered old-fashioned. Sometimes people tend to think, oh, now it's smart to use the internet, and now you can find all the information. But the internet is a tool. It's not an end per se. And if it becomes an end, then we got a problem. Yeah. Because I myself am guilty of using it too much, but I use it for work. I use it for a number of things. But whenever I find precious information, I make sure that I download it, print it, and read it without looking at the screen. And I believe that looking at the screen is, when you look at the screen, I don't know about you, Ollie, maybe it's my problem, but I cannot focus on something more than 5 minutes and then I have to change a page.
Yeah, I have exactly the same thing. And I find that even if I can focus, I don't really take it in the same way as if I've got this physical piece of paper in front of me, or
exactly. We hop around all the time. We think, okay, and search for information, and we think that, and in this case, this is a glaring example of how actually quantity goes to the detriment of quality, because we tend to look at a lot of resources, a lot of stuff. That piece of information. We haven't looked at anything. Like the depth of our thought is actually, we're becoming shallow without even knowing that. This concerns everybody. There's this famous video. Also, the book is the internet making us stupid? No, it's not making us stupid. It's making us more superficial in a way, because actually I found out, much to my dismay, I might add, that reading a book has become difficult. And once I was reading this wonderful book, which is called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I've been reading it, and then I read like 5 pages, and I realized that, 5 pages. I thought I had read like 30. It looked like 5 pages looked like, 10 minutes looked like an hour of reading. And I just realized, this is not good, Before, when I was 13 or 14, I could spend 5, 6, 7. I still remember that I read a book, which is called The Stand by Stephen King, in a matter of 3 days. It's a gigantic book. I was like completely absorbed. I don't know if I could do that now. I don't think so. I think after 30 minutes, I should take a break, then another break, and I was completely absorbed. It's like as if my brain had changed a little bit, and that's not good,
And yet, the world around, when you look at the world around us, wherever you go on the metro, on the street, in the office, people are just living their lives on their phones, on the internet, and so I wonder, is it going to become is it going to become harder to learn languages with this environment that we've got? Because I remember when we had this conversation before, one of the things that we both said was that, which is something really, really interesting, I think, which is that we remember what language learning was like before the internet.
That's another very interesting point. I would answer this way. It's true that before we were more focused, we could spend more time on books, etc. But the thing is that we also had difficulty finding resources. I still remember very well, in 1999, the internet had already been created, but I was not using it at the time. I remember that I was desperate for material in Dutch, because I had bought Teach Yourself, and then I had bought Asimov. But apart from that, when I hit the intermediate stage, so to say, so it finished the books, then I told myself, I have nothing to read or nothing to watch. And then I remember that my cousin went to Amsterdam, and I asked her, I begged her actually, please buy me a couple of books. I would have been super happy if she had given me, I don't know, she had bought me some DVDs. Nowadays, you can watch whatever you want, TV shows, etc., etc. So on the one hand, it's true that we had less possibilities. Now we have, the possibilities are, limitless for a lot of languages. You can do whatever you want. You can spend the whole day watching, reading, and speaking, even writing in Dutch, for example, and getting corrections on the fly, etc. But we have this curse of too much. We have too much. So I've noticed that people get lost in the dungeon. So they tend to download a lot of resources and then end up using not even one of these resources, and they have this problem of attention. So on the one hand, the internet looks like this treasure trove, that lures us into this kind of kingdom where we have everything, and we tend to look at how much we have, and then we don't do anything useful with it. And then you have this attention span problem. So it's I don't think that the destiny of language learners depends on them. Meaning for every single language learner, it's up to you to tell yourself, you know what, this is the technology. It gives me a lot of possibilities, but it can also take a lot of my time. So it's up to you how to organize and to make decisions. And then if you have the courage of actually looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, look at how much time I've spent on Facebook, look at how much time I spent hopping, from side to side, then, everything can change. But the problem is that it's a personal choice. You have limitless possibilities nowadays, but it's up to you to decide what you want to do with the technology. And that's the real key point here.
I mean, it's a choice, but it's also experience, isn't it? I mean, the experience of, because I guess what I sort of really saw into that point was the fact that, because we grew up in a time where there wasn't the internet, or the internet was just at the beginning, we were lucky enough to have this experience of what it's like to learn by reading books, listening to CDs and things like that. For people who are 10, 15, 20 years younger than us, who have grown up with technology, it seems to me they have an extra piece of work ahead of them now, because they have to learn how to step away.
I agree. It's more difficult. I actually think I always tell my friends, we're lucky that we were born in 1980, because we're talking about language learning, but you can see the detrimental aspects of the internet. Like a 12-year-old kid can watch porn. Can you imagine the impact it has on his or her mind? This is not just a problem of language learning. It's an overall destruction. It can be dangerous. So you're right when you say that the certain generation, well, they're not doomed, but we also have the responsibility of telling them, look, we have had this experience, but they still have a choice of reading books. I think it's responsibility of parents who are listening, and then also us to say, look, the offline world is still valid, and the online world is great, but you have to make proper use of it. And I think also, and there's a lot of smart people, so they will realize that something is wrong. The compulsive use of I've read an article maybe a couple of days ago about the compulsive use by teenagers of Facebook social networks is actually very bad for their health. And like the doctors themselves say, look, we had a problem. So a lot of people will find out that they have a problem, not even just, I can't learn a language, I can't focus enough. It's an overall problem. And maybe they were going to be conscious of that. You're going to realize, okay, this is not the way it works. I know of a lot of people, I read a lot of articles, but also met people personally who told me, you know what, I've had enough of Facebook. I've had enough of this. I'm just trying to use the computer as least as possible. And obviously these people, the people who are also learning languages, they are realizing that. So unfortunately, I think it's going to be a minority. Unfortunately, I think that a lot of people are going to fall into the trap. And possibly they're going to find out that they find themselves in a trap, because I'm not saying that the internet is a trap, but it can easily become addictive. Everybody's addicted to the internet nowadays. Have you noticed that somebody gets to your house, they say the first thing is they look for the key, the wire for the wireless.
Yeah.
I have when I have guests, that's especially from America. Here from Europe, a little bit less. I don't know why, but in general, that's the very first thing they ask. It's like, what is the internet? Can you give me the internet? It's like, oh my God, otherwise I get lost. And it happened to me as well. When I don't have the internet, I get a little bit nervous. I'm not connected. Can you imagine 24 hours without being connected? Looks like 3 months. So
what happens if I miss this or if I miss that?
And the truth is, you don't miss anything. It's just that we're so connected that it has this addictive thing that even with social media, if you spend 24 hours away from Facebook, oh my God, I probably you start this nagging thought that a lot of people wrote to you and you didn't get back to them, and it's addictive, but you become part of the system and you can't do without it, and it's very dangerous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, that's really, it's been a fascinating conversation, and that's exactly why I wanted to record this chat, because I think it's a growing problem, and it's something that hopefully people could listen to this and realize that there is a way, there is a path other than technology and apps and stuff like that, and it's there, and it's how a lot of us have had success with languages before. So listen, thanks very much for taking the time. Before you go, where can people find you? Where would you like to send people if they'd like to find out more about Luca?
Well, I got a blog which is called www.thepolyglotdream.com. This is my blog. I also have a YouTube channel. If you write Luca Lampariello, Lampariello, and that's Luca, Luca, not Lucas, as they normally call me in French. You can find me easily, and also on Google you can find a bunch of stuff. But basically, it's YouTube and my blog.
Cool, and I'll link to both of those in the show notes as well if anyone would like to follow up on that. Okay, man, thanks a lot. Take it easy.
Fantastic. Take care, Olly.
Cheers.
Ciao.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Luca Lampariello. Once again, if you'd like to check out Luca's blog, it's at thepolyglotdream.com. Now, I've also made this available on YouTube, this entire conversation. So if you'd like to check it out on YouTube, on your phone or on your desktop, whatever, maybe save the video so you can come back and listen to it another time, or maybe share the video with someone that you know who's learning a language, and maybe he's either a technology fan or is a bit scared of technology. Either way, maybe they would get value from this. If you'd like to check out the video, I'm going to put all the links to Luca's stuff and this video in the show notes, which will be at iwillteachyoualanguage.com/episode 52. And we've been talking about language learning and technology, and whatever your feelings might be about this, for me personally, I find that there are a small number of extremely useful apps and websites that for me are absolutely indispensable, that help me in language learning every single day. And I've put those all together in an ebook, which is available for free. If you'd like to get a copy of it, simply go to iwillteachyoualanguage.com. Just that, iwillteachyoualanguage.com, and then right at the top of the page, you're going to see a box where you can get a copy of the guide. You need to put in your name and email, and then I'll send you a copy of the guide straight over. It's called 10 Essential Tech Resources for Smart Language Learners, and that's exactly what it is. So again, if you'd like to check that out, that's available for free on the website. Again, links to everything in the show notes, which will be at iwillteachyoualanguage.com/episode 52. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you found that valuable, and I'll see you in the next episode of the podcast. Thanks for listening to today's episode. And here at Story Learning, everything that I do is powered by stories, whether that's writing books, teaching lessons, crafting courses. My mission is to help everyone succeed at learning a new language through the power of story. And we now have comprehensive language courses in over 15 languages, from Spanish to French, Korean to Japanese, and across all levels from beginner to mastery. And you can take a 7-day free trial of any of these programs by visiting storylearning.com/courses. I've poured my heart and soul into creating these courses over the last 10 or so years, and we've helped tens of thousands of new students achieve their dreams of learning a new language, all through the power of story. So go ahead and take a free trial. There's no commitment. You can try out our method for free. See if this can also be the breakthrough for you that it's been for so many other people. Storylearning.com/courses.